Episode 10 of Gym Guys Podcast, featuring J-Dog, Jason Budsock, VP of Product Development at Animal, the Eric Schwartz, a man of many talents, poor power. He's flexing.
Flexing on
Longtime member of the gym and the owner that we're going to speak of, consultant to Apollo Nutrition and many other talents, of course. Chris Scotto, Drago 1850 here. I just get the chance to hang out with these guys and be part of this fun show and sharing all these great stories of all these special guests that we meet. And speaking of special guests, our next is a gentleman that I met at a gym event, super humble, super respected in the industry of powerlifting. The gym that we're going to talk about that he owns has been around since 1972. If you blink, you'll pass it. So you got to make sure you're looking for it, because I've been one of those guys. But you want to talk about feeling at home. You want to talk about just the grit and the grime and the atmosphere of this gym, at least what I've witnessed in pictures, what I've heard from friends, what I've read about it. This next gentleman that we're bringing on here is a close friend of Lou Simmons, and if anyone knows who that is, hopefully you do. The inventor of Westside Barbell, and this particular gym that we're talking about today, and the owner is a Westside certified gym and the only one in New Jersey. So he coaches wrestling, he coaches football, still doing it big time. IPA World Championship winner, 750-pound squat that I know of, and other great lifts. So without further ado, I'm honored to bring on Henri Skiba, the owner of Skiba's Gym. And we're going to dig into not only his history, but also his journey and what he continues to do to honor the West Side certified style of training and the religion associated with that. But before we get into it with Skiba, Eric, you got a couple of things to share with some new developments. And Jay, I know you were across the states witnessing a lot of different products. I heard there was a lot of plant-based stuff. We'll talk about that too. Cool. So Eric, take it away.
Yeah, so with Paw Power, we're a really small company. As I've told you guys before, we bootstrapped this whole thing. We got no investors. We don't have any financing. So for us to launch a new product is a very big deal. It's not something we do every week. And we did launch a brand new product this week. I've been working on it a long time. I'm going to share my screen when we talk about it. But just real quick, the genesis of like Paw Power, when I started it, I wanted to start with just supplements. Dog butter was not even on my radar. And it was taking me a long time to start the supplements. From my knowledge of working in the supplement industry, I was very picky about manufacturing, coming out with the right products. I know all the corners that manufacturers like to cut and brands like to cut, and it was taking me forever to really find a good manufacturer and the exact product I want, and get something where somebody would give me a small size minimum, because as a small business, a lot of these manufacturers want you to buy a minimum of 5,000 bottles, 10,000 bottles. That's a lot to lay out for a small business. So as I'm developing the brand, I got introduced to the manufacturer of the dog butter, and he said he could private label the peanut butter for me. And I said, how can we make it different? Well, we could put supplements in the peanut butter, and that's how we started the brand. And that's really kind of taken off, which is really awesome. So that gave me some time to really work on the supplement end. So we launched our first supplement this week. I'll share my screen real quick. It is a real high quality fish oil for dogs. And the benefits to this, the main benefit is skin and coat health. There are many benefits to supplementing your dogs with fish oil, but that's kind of the main benefit that people know. And that's why I put that on the label, skin and coat, because that's how people identify it and, know the benefit right away. But it also helps with hips and joints, heart health, brain development, eyes, immune system, really healthy for your dogs. And what makes ours different, and the value proposition in this is that this is human grade fish oil. Now, what I found out, I didn't know a lot about the pet space, but there's pet grade and there's human grade, and you can sell pet grade. I could certainly sell pet grade. It's much cheaper, but there's a lot less regulations and quality checks on the pet grade stuff. So I went with a manufacturer who's one of the leading manufacturers of human fish oil. in doing this, and that's really what makes it different. We also went with small fish. Most of the fish oil for dogs out there is salmon oil, and salmon's very good. There's nothing wrong with salmon, but what's going with the small fish here, they have a higher EPA and DHA in them, so you're getting a higher potency with less of a serving. And there's less chance of like heavy metals and mercuries and stuff. So we're like super excited about it. It's a liquid. It comes with this little pump. It's cool. You just pump it right on their food, and it adds moisture to their food. It adds flavor to their food. We tested it extensively, and the dogs love it. It's just really cool. And we're super excited about it. I want to do a full supplement line, but again, we're a small business. We have to do one at a time. I have to sell some of this so that we can get some money to buy the next product. So I'd like to have a full supplement line with the dog butter. So we're just pumped about that.
Wow.
I ordered mine already, except I paid $39.99. I
No,
don't know
you
what
did
happened
not.
with that transaction.
Get the hell out of here! You did not. Did you receive it yet?
I think it's. I did get a tracking report.
Okay.
Either I get it tonight or tomorrow. I think it's.
I was
it's
going to
close
ask
by.
you about your customer experience. You could tell me about that later. That's very important to me. Like that's something that
Certainly will.
that I learned. That consumer journey is so important, and I want to make sure that everybody has a good experience with our brand.
Definitely.
So yeah, we're pumped about it. I have a big pet expo this weekend in Virginia that we're going to do. So I'm going to bring it there and sell it there and get it rocking and rolling. Yeah,
Very cool.
And Jay, I know you were on the West Coast at a supplement expo called Expo West. Can you like explain what that is to people
Yeah. So
and what you saw?
Yep. So this past weekend there was on the West Coast in Anaheim, California. There's a Natural Product Expo West, where basically it's all things organic, plant-based, natural, in the not only the supplement world, ingredient world, but also in the food world. So it was a mix of all those cool things. So for instance, I didn't have to buy lunch. I would just go around and, pick on different tasty chicken coated with cauliflower, or let's see, there was dumplings, natural
Your favorite?
based
I know
dumplings.
you
So
love
yeah,
dumplings.
so it's really, really exciting on that end. And then in terms of the reason why I was out there was specifically to look for new ingredients, new opportunities, stay on top of the trends. A lot of great connections that we already have, just to see everybody in person, and then also to meet new connections was really fun.
Was there any like new novel stuff that the public doesn't really know about yet? Any new ingredients or anything?
I don't think it was. So I made a list of kind of like some of the things that we were looking at. I wouldn't say anything super unique other than like in the microbiome space, where microbiome is like looking at pre, pro, and postbiotics. There's particularly with the probiotics, there's going to be a lot of ingredients that are coming out to help with what is it, like the gut-brain access. So they're able to penetrate the blood-brain barrier and provide unique focus benefits. So it's like it's actually a probiotic that provides a functional benefit beyond just digestion. So that's something in the space that's really growing, and a lot of science and a lot of studying being done there. And then just some of the other unique things I listed out here were that mushrooms are just, we know about them probably like in our space for a while, but they're beginning to like show up everywhere, from functional foods to, of course, the supplements all over the place.
It's big in the pet space too. Mushrooms. They say there's anti-cancerous, benefits to it.
Yeah, I was thinking about you out there because I saw mushrooms, adaptogens, gut health for dogs, immune health for dog. Like it was a lot of unique products for dogs out there that I have to give you the brochures that I got so you could kind of, maybe come up with some ideas and make them better for Paw Power.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
But yeah, overall, it was great show. Great show to stay on top of things.
No sightings of Skiba's supplement line yet?
We have a cup that came out, coffee cup.
All right.
Love that.
All right. So let's get to our main guest here, Skeebs. I got to meet Skeebs. I don't remember the year, but I was working with Animal, and that's how I got to meet Skeebs, luckily. And kind of like, I'm not overstating it. She kind of changed my life at the time. I was just about to turn 40, and like I needed something was missing. I needed something competitive, and I'd always like watched powerlifting from the outside. and I always kind of wanted to do it, but like a lot of people, I felt like, I'm not strong enough to do powerlifting, and I wasn't confident about it because I didn't understand it. And Skeeb just kind of like took me under his wing and made me feel so comfortable about it and made me confident enough to do my first meet. And it really like just changed everything for me. And I appreciate it so much, Skeebs. You have a special gym. Why don't you tell us like about Skiba's gym, the history, and what it's about?
Yeah.
Right. The whole start of Skiba's gym was because it was a tribute that I started to actually for my father. And the reason it's so special to me is that my father was an incredible man, incredible. He was a police officer, and he used to always give back to kids. What he used to do was he used to, if there was any kind of things left over at the parks, because he was a park policeman, he'd gather the stuff and give it to the kids, and always giving back and always thinking of kids. And sometimes I'd even lose stuff at my own house because he said, they needed more than you do. So what happened when he passed on, I decided as a living tribute, because a poor regular guy, when they pass on, sometimes you see something in the newspaper and they don't do anything special for it. But if you're a rich guy, they name a building or street after you. And I said, I want to make a living tribute to my father. And that's why I basically do what I do. I never turn a kid away. I'm a special ed teacher by trade. And that's how Skiba's gym got started. And I've been blessed from day one. I've had some characters come in and out of the gym, but because of, I think we really did a lot with trying to give back to people. I've been, the progress in this gym and meeting people that I should have no right of meeting, I did. And because of that, I consider myself like a storyteller, going all the way back to the beginning of powerlifting. My first meet was in 1977, but I started the gym in 1972. Actually, before he would, he passed, but that's basically where the actual start came from, in a little garage where the people used to follow me back then because I was always very strong. I had some paint. I went up in the garage and painted on a beam, Skiba's gym. That's how it started. And from then on, people always, hey, Skeebs, most people don't even know my first name is Henri. They don't Skeeb. And it's all right with me because everybody feels comfortable talking to me. I'm just, sometimes the biggest guys always have the biggest heart. And I talk to everybody. And every night, just like Louis is my mentor. He's the person. Want me to tell you how I met Louis?
Please do.
Yeah.
All right. Louis, I had back problems for about 10 years, and I was tired of walking around on the floor all the time. Every holiday, my back was hurting me. So I went out to go see Lou, and Lou took me under his wing, and he said, listen, we use the reverse hyper out here. It was only patent pending back then. And he said, listen, use this, do this and that. And I said, Lou, I believe you. I see already what you've got from your place. So I said, Lou, I'm going to purchase one. I'm a first-year teacher. I don't have the money for it right now. And I promise in 3 months I'm going to come and I'm going to buy one. Well, make a story short, 2 weeks later, Chuck pulls up, has a reverse hyper on it.
Chuck Vogelpohl we're talking about, right?
No, I'm talking about Lou Simmons.
Oh,
right.
a truck. I thought you said Chuck. I apologize. Go ahead.
And what happened was, I called Louis up. I said, Lou, I don't have a dime to my name to pay for it yet. He says, Henri, and that's my cheap imitation. He said, you're a powerlifter. You need it. Pay me when you can. And from that was over 35, nearly 40 years ago. From that point, he was my mentor, my friend. I'll tell you something, he was some tough bird inside the gym, but he always gave back to people. People don't know how kind and incredible, what a man he was. All my times in my life when I needed somebody, Louis called me up and, give me a pep talk, or when I went for a serious operation, which I really could have died from, he sent me books and shirts and everything. He says, Henri, you got to come back. And finally, the last days, I always get choked up about it when Louis couldn't compete anymore. And I knew things were really bad. He says, Henri, you got to get back on a platform. I said, Lou, I promise you, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I will be back, whatever. I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm going to do it because that guy, he changed my life. Like, you said, I helped you. I thank God for that because, you're just a great person, Eric. And I just, we've traveled together and did a lot of great things together. And I thank you for all your help. But I mean, Louis really helped me incredibly. He was just a mentor and my best friend. The stuff he wrote to me was incredible. He was that kind of man.
That's awesome. And you're kind of keeping his legacy alive. You're a West Side certified gym, right? So you still, I know that you train with those principles, you preach the principles, so you kind of keeping his legacy going.
What's the most amazing thing is, now people, since he is gone, they take cheap shots. Man, listen, that place was 40 years of a testing ground. It was like a lab. When Louis found something that worked, guess what? He published it and got it out there. He wasn't doing it for his own sake. He was doing it to make us better lifters. He looked at what the Americans were doing. Our American system was turning out lousy lifters, right? Like Olympic lifting and so forth or whatever. And he found a way making people stronger. He went and, read Russian literature and did whatever it took to make his lifters better. Like, for example, he was the first person that when he knew he needed to find physics to help lifters get stronger in biomechanics, he had people tutor him in that so he could learn and become better at it. He used every avenue possible to make his lifters better. And guess what? They dominated the powerlifting field. Now everybody has their own way now. They say this and that. But one thing about Lou, if there was a better way, he'd find it. He always said there was so many locks, but there's so many keys too to open some of those locks.
Wise. Interesting.
Yeah. I'll tell you, he was such a tough individual. You go there and lift with him, it was just absolutely incredible. My favorite story with him was one of the first times I went out there, if you don't mind.
Please.
Right. I went out there and I went with Nick Mazon, who was, kind of like a son and an incredible lifter. Louis wanted him to go out there. But what happened, we went out there and I was squatting with him, Dave Tate, and somebody else. I think Chuck was there too. And he got me down. He was about 5'6". I'm 5'10", and he got me to go down to a 13-inch box. And I couldn't come up from a 13-inch box. He says, "Well, you find a way." He's right. I found a way. But the other thing he did, he said to me, "Henri, you ever, I got videos." I said, "Yes, Lou, I have them." Then he said, "Why don't you try watching the goddamn things?" He would put you in your place, and you would do I got goosebumps talking about him. When he put you in your place and you would do anything to straighten it out and do whatever you had to do. He was the most incredible teacher, mentor person I've ever met in my life.
Amazing.
That is the Lou Simmons I know.
Amazing. I didn't get to check out West Side, and I kick myself because you invited me many times to go on a road trip, and I was busy or whatever. But I really wish I would have got to go. I mean, I could still go, but Louis not there, so it's different.
It's not, it's Tom Barry is an incredible guy. He has a lot of different tools. He works with MMA guys. That's why next trip I go out there, I got 2 or 3 MMA guys now that I want to take out there and learn some different things in order if I could bring it back for those guys. Because whatever he did, whatever guy he touched, he made him better. He took a world-class sprinter and was able, they said it was impossible for a guy to go any faster. I think it was Butch Reynolds. I'm not really sure, but I'm just throwing that name out. And he was able to make him go 1/10 to 3/10 of a second faster, which they say is virtually impossible. He would take any person. I had one guy I took out there and he gained over 200 pounds in his total. Because I asked Louis, I said, "Listen, this kid could use your help." And Louis took him on the side and taught him. And he gained, next time he went out, he totaled 200 pounds more.
Wow.
That's some kind of coaching.
That's incredible.
Whatever you want. This guy would see something in you and he'd change it.
So Skiba, if you had to describe Skiba's gym to somebody who's never heard of it, describe it to us. Like, it's a powerlifting gym, right?
It's yeah, I make no qualms about it. I don't want your conventional athlete. I want people that, want to get strong. As Louis would say, he'd like the abnormal kind of guy, because I need guys to lift big weights. It's not logical. It's not logical to put so much weight that's going to crush your body and try and come up with it. But guess what? That's the kind of person you need. Something that's immovable. And guess what? You try and move it, or eventually you'll find a way. So you need people that are willing to do whatever it takes to go in and move that heavy weight and come back day after day. And if you do get broken, you come back, because that is part of the whole process. I don't know how many times, right now I'm broken from a couple of years. I blew both shoulders out. My tricep I tore off, and I had my hip totally redone, artificial one.
And which Skeebs was squatting, a few days after your hip surgery? Or was it a
10
week?
days I squatted my first, because I don't listen to anybody. My Dr. Rossinello. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah.
Rossinello.
So
Dr. Rossinello.
he worked on me. He fixed my bicep. And what he said was, whatever you do for the rehab, do not listen to Henri.
Well, listen, we got time and time again. To just give you an example, you came back faster than ever, better than ever.
I did take my time. I am better than ever, but I really did take my time with it.
Tommy Kemble was a gentleman that blew his labrum right off, and they said he needed an operation before he come to bench again. His best bench at that time was 420, 435. And we had him get ready for the police. It was Olympics out in Ireland. And so he said there was no turning back. So he said, listen, let's follow Louis' protocol and let's see him come back. Well, guess what? 3 months later, he came back and benched 425, 10 pounds less than his best, which they said was impossible to do. But guess what? We followed it, that he did. Another example, Andy Vail, another great lifter, came back, blew both his knees out with 900 pounds in a squat, came back exactly a year later and squatted a grand. Why? Louis came up with the concept of doing bicycling backwards that totally helped redevelop his knees, and was able to come back and be better than ever. He knew how to do it. He knew how to bring it. That's why reverse hyper is the greatest machine, and the MR19 too. I believe in his stuff. I got every single piece that he has.
Yeah, you have some very, very unique pieces of equipment that you won't find anywhere else. So if you guys are in the area, you're near New Jersey, it's in Carteret. It's kind of like central New Jersey, exit 12 off the turnpike. Really some cool pieces in there that you'll never see anywhere else. But more important than that, you got Skiba's knowledge, who I call the powerlifting Yoda.
I love it though. It's a compliment.
I love that name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't met anybody that's more passionate about powerlifting than you, Skib. So
I'll tell you something, man. I started a long time ago, and I'll tell you, a few years ago, I really said to myself, I spent my whole life doing this, and I said, did it really matter? And then all of a sudden, I swear, it's like God turned on a switch and everything happened. I just had so many good things come into my life, and I really enjoy what I do now with the different people. And that's powerlifting. It really is. I've met some of the greatest people in the world. Larry Pacifico. I mean, you talk about him and just about everybody in the world of powerlifting. I got a chance to go out to Boss of Bosses with you, Eric, and to see a guy that I helped start when, you were just starting that kind of stuff. And you made it to one of the biggest contests in the world. And I was so proud to stand by your side, because you told me, it meant a lot to you. And when a person that is with you that goes to a contest, if that's a coach or somebody that is your friend, it means a lot to have somebody that cares about you. And so I was happy. I was just happy when you pulled a record lift for yourself than if you did it yourself. I mean, because it meant that much to me.
Thanks, pal. Great experience. J-Dog was there too, which is awesome.
J-Dog
Amazing
there,
thing.
He taught, I'll tell you, he became some deadlifter and a hell of a lifter.
Jay's a
Skiba,
great lifter.
You were the one that you got me into powerlifting. I don't know if you realize that, but I remember we were at an Animal Barbell Club event in Philadelphia that we were walking. I think we were walking to Pat and Gino's, I don't know, the steak place, and just talking to you and Eric, that got me to do my first competition. So thank you. That was huge.
See, that's the kind of thing that just comes back to me, and it makes me feel like, it was worth it. Because I'm going to tell you something. One thing I wanted to make a point of when you talk about gyms, I know these people come in and they have a gym and they have like $1 million background and they buy all these pieces of equipment, and the pieces don't mean anything to them. All right. Every single piece is a birthday present here, or money I saved, or a present or something from my wife or something. Every piece means something to me. So when I come in his gym and I look around, I see somebody doing well with it. And I'm like, it's worth it. It really is. But you're not going to ever get rich in this gym. My wife knew this. This is my little niche. She said, if you did a bodybuilding CrossFit gym, you probably make a ton of money. But that's not what I'm about. I'm about doing this stuff. This is me. I'm not done competing yet. I want more. I'm 65 going on 27.
I love it.
So.
It's great, man. It's great.
Those are the greatest gyms. You got a lot of soul, and it's got a lot of meaning, every piece of equipment that you picked out, obviously. And again, I could speak from more so the outside perspective, than Jay and Eric's experience on how much they've worked with you or been associated with you. When I tried to go, I was like, where's this Skiba's place that everyone's talking about? And I passed by, and I'm like, it's a house. You know, it's a house with like a side yard. You know, it's like, and when I looked in the window, I'm like, holy shit, he's got all that stuff in there. It's like amazing, you know. And
People are so surprised. And the same thing with West Side. The first time I went out to West Side, right? All the windows were painted black. I drove around for hours and nobody would tell you where it's at because Louis kept it like a secret. And then I'm driving along the road. All of a sudden I see a guy in a big Cadillac. Hey, you're looking for me, aren't you? And I said, yeah, Lou, I can't believe it. He took me to the gym and that was it.
Aren't those the best gyms though? I mean, Dorian Yates's gym, you had to walk around a back alley. You would have never found it if you didn't know. It's in the back door in a back alley, down some steps. Like,
but you guys from Animal and you guys really helped me out in so many ways, going all the way along, giving me a chance, the opportunity to speak and talk to people. Because you've seen when we used to do Animal ABC days. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
I hope we get to do that again.
Skeebs did a few exhibitions in the cage as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was some of the greatest times of my life. You guys gave me the opportunity to be the storyteller I always wanted to be. You know, I met so many great lifters and I knew, you know, I mean, theirs is so far ahead of me and everything else, but I have a chance to come and tell some of the stories people don't know about the people. And it's a lot of fun because when you get to meet some of the great ones, you see what makes them different. They are different. There's just a tenacity and a passion that keeps them coming back time after time after time.
I know you're close with Ed Cohn as well.
Ed Cohn I'm telling you a story about Eddie Cohn. I'm telling you something, that guy is incredible. He is the GOAT. Because I remember one time, I always hate to tell the story, but because I always get choked up a lot. There was a gentleman, and he's a very popular handicapped strongman. And he had some kind of concussions or some kind of thing that allowed him to deadlift or squat in a long certain amount of time. Well, Eddie Cohn spent the whole time there at the seminar teaching him. And by the end of the time, he squatted and deadlift again. I mean, people were walking out with tears in their eyes, which was beautiful. Wow. Eddie didn't do that for any other reason except his passion of the sport. When you seen him get his Lifetime Achievement Award at the IPAs, the guy is just all heart. I had a kid that was a little bit of an exceptional kid, and I told Eddie all about him. And when he came to the gym and seen the kid again, he said to the I won't use his name, but he said, Skeebs told me what an incredible young lifter you are and how hard you work. Next time I have a seminar, your ticket's on me.
Wow. And it's awesome. Skeebs had Ed Cohn come to the gym and do a seminar. I attended and I got to get hands-on one-on-one with Ed Cohn, which is really cool. You've had Laura Phelps there at a seminar. You've had Andre Milanichev, Dan Green, Brandon Lilly, the Lillibridges,
Pete Rubish,
Sam Bird,
Larry Wheels, Sam Bird, Brandon Lilly. I mean, we were just so lucky to have so many different people. And then, of course, my favorite lifter, Konstantin Janishia, who ended up being fourth strongest man in the world. He trained me for 2 years. And when he was on ESPN, he actually said, Skiba, you're my brother. I love you.
Wow,
and all across the nation. And everything he had to say, he did that. And saying, my God, I can't believe it. I've been blessed.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I'm telling you, man, this is like, this is your life. And I really thank you for the opportunity to tell it.
Cool.
That's what this podcast is all about. That's one of the things that Eric and Jay and I, when we talked about it, like we want to make sure we talk about the accolades and the achievements, but we also want to talk about like all the background. What else is there to the man, to Skiba? Like, and you're sharing that. You're sharing your experiences with how you met people and what they meant to you and what they did for you. Obviously, what you did for many others. Like that to me is the reason why we do this. It's just I love that when you watch a documentary and you get to really enjoy or feel that you're enjoying what that person really is about. This is just that much more real as far as I'm concerned.
I just really thank you for that. I mean, we're just so lucky. I mean, that you talk about the youth and stuff like that. My whole goal is I really like to build the next generation, because my sport of powerlifting in the 70s, I mean, nobody knew what it was. And my whole thing is I always want to, get people out there know what it is. And guess what? people really know what it is. I really believe it's the world's greatest sport because there's nothing more exciting when you see a real powerlifting contest and you see people, you know, pulling a weight that seems almost impossible and then finally get it. Like when Eric, I seen you do some pulls and it's just like you're, oh my God, it feels like you're doing it with the person. Like if you know what they studied one time, sometime I saw a videotape of, they actually videotape judges when they judge some of the bigger lifters, and you actually see their body stance change because they're actually pulling backwards when the person's finishing the lift. They're actually physically trying to finish the lift with the person as they're doing the lift. That means you're touching somebody else's heart when you do stuff like that.
Man, that is some Yoda shit, man. Using the force. Skeebs, talk about the sport of powerlifting for a minute. Since you've seen it since the 70s, it's obviously grown in popularity, and probably a lot of that's due to social media and more people being exposed to it. What do you think? Like, where is the sport at right now? Do you think it's in a good space? What do you think? There's so many more females into it than there was years ago.
Oh, that's my biggest thing, because one of the programs that I do, I'll just talk about it quickly. I run a program, Women of Power, because I've had so many women that, you know, either are battered or people beat them down mentally. And I found that, you know, it kind of like rejuvenated. I have one particular lifter in Florida who I won't say her name because she's just so popular. You know, she said I saved her life, and this is out to you. And I think we've made a difference with what we've done with the powerlifting. But as far as powerlifting itself, I really believe that people would just stop making such a differential between geared and non-geared lifting. I mean, you know, you always tease me because I use a lot of the gear, you know, as far as like, you know, like suits and belts and stuff like that, because after so many years, your body takes a beating. And in order to keep going, you got to have some kind of glue to hold it together. And I mean, it's nice when you're 20 years old, but I used to be that young lifter all the way up to probably like 30 until, you know, you start blowing stuff apart. And later, you know, it keeps the guys in the game. So, I mean, like if you lift, whether you lift with a super or a suit or squat suit or lift raw, there's no difference. You're doing something that makes you happy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it. I do tease you, and it's all jokes, but you know, for those that are listening, and a lot of people listening may not know the difference, right? So there are different divisions in powerlifting. There's raw, which is basically no equipment other than generally a belt, maybe wrist wraps, sometimes knee sleeves and knee wraps. And then there's equipped lifting, where you can wear a bench shirt, a squat suit, a deadlift suit. But if you're lifting equipped, you're only lifting against equipped lifters. Your numbers are not being compared to the raw lifters. You're in different divisions. And I think people get that misconstrued. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's cheating. Well, it's not cheating because you're competing against people in the same division using the same equipment. So, you know, it's just a different division of powerlifting.
See, people, like, if you even compare with strongmen, and I mean, I don't want to throw stones at different groups, but, you know, they say, you know, gear helps you so much. But yet on the same thing too, a wide stance or a wide grip or arching and all that other kind of stuff, that changes the parameters of the sport too. So are we going to negate somebody's lift because they do sumo style? No, it's just another alternative.
Right. But that's another misconception, right? People think, they still say it, sumo is cheating because they see a shorter range of motion, but it's not. I'm not a strong sumo as I am conventional, and it's hard to me. It's harder sumo.
Yeah, it's just, you know, everybody's different, but man, just enjoy the sport. And especially you see women lift what they're doing now. I've seen people just change their lives doing that. It really is incredible. And I'm just talking about, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you a question. So the women, I mean, it has exploded in popularity with females. Do you think that is, do you think CrossFit kind of helped get women into powerlifting?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, I always tease about CrossFit, but I've known some people that are incredible bodies, incredible lifters and so forth. The only thing that I just really don't like is when people try and attempt in their CrossFit sessions to teach a complicated thing like the Olympic lift, and really have some people really don't belong doing it. Either that, or some people, I remember a video one time, a person wanted to show how much they're into doing CrossFit, and they had a baby wrapped in like a little caboose on their back when they were doing a clean. You know, that's stupid stuff. People carry too far, you know?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people do that just for the views on social media, right?
Well, believe me, listen, just enjoy lifting. Like that's what makes me happy. I'm so happy my wife, after so many years, and I got to give a shout out to her, and because she stood by me, she wrapped my knee. She's done everything for me. She had my back my whole life. I could never thank her enough for sticking with this old dinosaur.
That woman is a saint, Skeebs.
Yeah, everybody calls her
We're
State.
putting up with you.
And listen, one last thing, talking about something.
Yeah.
The dinosaur, the reason it is for my gym, and it always has been, goes back to the early days. The last person who used to lift on the platform was called the dinosaur. And that's what I always wanted for my gym. I wanted to be a dinosaur, the last man lifting, the last man standing. And that's why that dinosaur it's almost 40 years old now. It's like 35 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah, but the dinosaurs when it's extinct, I'd be a little nervous about that.
well, listen, if you're still the baddest dude on the face of the earth, that's okay with me.
We're probably in the process of manufacturing new dinosaurs, so I think you'll be all right with the way science is going these days.
Jurassic Park, yeah.
Jay, we better do an animal event here again. I mean,
I know, we
it's
gotta
time.
get together with Skiba
If the
again.
powers that be aren't listening to this, I think like on every episode we're on, someone's mentioning something about an ABC event or a cage. I mean, if that's not a sign, I don't know what it
And
is.
Skeebs has a really cool outside area. So when the weather's warmer, like there's plenty of room. It's a really cool outside. I want to do an event. I've talked about it last year with Skeebs. We haven't solidified it, but I want to do an event there where we raise money for dog rescues. We call it Dead List for Dogs.
Oh, that's great.
That because basically my bulldogs were, except for Louis, my last one I just named after. He's only 11 months old. He's a monster. I gotta see your wife, Eric, because he's just too powerful. And he's just a bull, and I got to do something with making that dog listen a little bit.
Yeah, let's get an ABC going there. Let's do it.
Oh,
Let's
well,
do
I
it.
will tell you that I have a contest April 22nd. It's going to be 365 strong. We're going to run it here or at Mike's place in Staten Island, in which we run a contest. And one of the things I want to bring up a fundraiser we're going to have. It's a young gentleman from my friend Josh, his nephew. His name is Porter, and we're selling shirts called Powerlifting for Porter, because the kid has some kind of inoperable brain thing, and I'll tell you, son, he has to like take chemos just about every day of his life for next year, and I want to try and help that kid somehow.
If you guys want to start in powerlifting, that would be a great contest to do. Skeebs meet on April 22nd. Skeebs, if somebody wants to start powerlifting, they don't know a lot about it, where should they start?
Where should they start? Well, first of all, I just believe in doing a little bit of reading and stuff like that and so forth. Second of all, find yourself a person that's really a powerlifter, not learning from no disrespect, not from a CrossFitter. I would learn from somebody that actually does powerlifting, because a person that's in powerlifting really knows the different nuances of the sport. And as far as like, you need a person that is going to also be with you and stay and talk to you and train you through the first year. Because once you get through that, it's a lifelong sport that you could once you learn the basics of it, you could do it for the rest of your life. So I'd basically find somebody that in a gym that has a little more hardcore atmosphere and not depend on somebody that is in a bodybuilding type gym. Because 90% of most gyms, they don't accommodate powerlifters, nor do they have the equipment that is needed for powerlifting.
Right. And I'm assuming, that you believe in hands-on is important in powerlifting rather than virtual or.
Yeah, I'm not really into that. I'm telling you, son, that really, I know sometimes I do watch different videos to try and learn new exercises and stuff. Like I'm involved with Laura Phelps is my, I had to find another way of getting my numbers up again. And I reached out to Laura Phelps, and she's written me a program, and she takes Westside to another level. She is a Westside. She was Louis' greatest lifter. She squatted in the mid 8s, benched in the mid 5s, and deadlifted close to 6 at 181. Just a phenomenal person, really knows the sport. But the thing that she knows is how to lead you along the way and have your waves so that you don't overtrain. in the past, I've done her program for a month and I feel so much under control and stronger and not overtrained. I see all these people coming up and see their gurus. Let's see where they come from. Laura Phelps is one of the greatest lifters ever. That's the person you want to talk to.
Well, I mean, I would call that like it is. I mean, to be in your 60s and making gains again and making strength gains again from what you're following. I mean, that to me speaks everything.
I think so too, because like you're a young pup yet, but I'm telling
He
you,
thinks I'm young.
He's not that young.
I
Jason's the young pup here.
I've reinvented.
I could even appreciate at my age, going through some of the different trainings I'm trying, and I'm like, damn, I never thought that maybe I could bring it back the other way again and make some improvements. And like you said, if you're listening to the right people, doing the right thing, people, that have the experience, that have the, the not degrees, but maybe they do have degrees, but people that are respected in the industry. For me, without knowing you, like a close friend, Skiba, I would think, hey, well, that's a guy I'm going to go to. Obviously, with my animal association, I'm thinking Dan Green, I'm thinking Andrew, Herbert, I'm thinking guys like that. Do I get inspired by watching a video of Jamal, the way he does a deadlift, which like you think the guy's picking, laundry basket off the floor? It's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Amazing, but
look at some of the people, who's another person that I'm very proud that I was able to. Vinny Galante came up to me once, said he wanted to do powerlifting. He is I know him since he was a kid, and he is the most incredible bodybuilder. Him, and he took to the sport. He set several records his first and second time out, and couldn't believe, he could get there. And he did, and I'm just was it Tyler Cohen?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was another person that came. It can be done because you guys at Bodybuild, you have such a great kinesthetic sense about your body, and just changing your training makes such a big difference in what you do. I'd like to get on stage one day later on. You see me all the time, because I was a real fat.
I'm actually surprised that Skiba has a shirt on for this podcast, because generally 99% of the time Skiba does not have a shirt on.
You know why? Because I used to weigh
gotta own it
20 pounds, and now I look pretty damn good, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
Good.
Love it.
Well, I think lifting and everything that we were talking about, age and stuff, I think the pursuit of strength is the fountain of youth. And I think that's what keeps you young and strong. And I think when you stop training is when you deteriorate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, some guys continued all the way through. I'll tell you, I was very lucky to have, I had Fred Hatfield for a seminar one time, and he was amazing how far ahead of the curve he was. That's another intelligent, super guy that I
Dr. Squat. Never got to meet him, but.
And Larry Pacifico, there's no kinder man. He took me under his wing when I was out there, and he just helped me any way he could. That's another great one.
Who do you think is the greatest powerlifter of all time?
Eric Schwartz.
Well, I'm not the greatest powerlifter of all time, but I do, as I have to remind everybody, I do have a higher official total than J-Dog, but
You guys are funny with that, man. I love it. See both you guys get it, man, because you guys built a deadlift out of nowhere, man. You guys are.
Jay is definitely a better deadlifter than me. I give him that.
Right.
I only make up for the numbers on my bench.
I just need to come back, like Skiba. I need to come back so I can this time take out Eric.
Let's make it a head-to-head comeback.
Keep him off the books.
Well, Jay, you're always welcome, and I hope you and your wonderful family. I remember you're a family man too, so I just wish that. But how are we doing with time, Eric?
We're getting close, so we do have to kind of wrap it up soon.
Anything else?
We got a few minutes.
Or Chris, anything we want to talk about, buddy?
No, I'm not going anywhere near deadlifting with these two.
Why not? It's not too late to start, Chris.
Yeah.
I am finding out some strength that I didn't think I had, but that's not saying much compared to where I started, but it's been improvement.
Yeah, but you got to realize you're talking about, all you do is got to keep moving that 1 foot forward, man, and just keep moving forward, because there's a lot of people I know that at 50 years old, they're done, and you still look great. You're moving forward. You're getting stronger, and you believe you could be stronger.
No, definitely. Yeah, I didn't want to accept it. I really try to say in my mind, no, I'm not that age. I always try to think I'm a decade less. And even though that could be a dangerous move, I do it safely, and I just don't accept it. Eric just said it. You kind of got to do the things that when you were young, and you got to kind of continue those as you get older to stay young. And I would recommend to anybody watching this, whether you became a new fan or you're learning about powerlifting or you're learning about any strength or resistance training, kind of forget all the things that you're seeing out there PSA wise with medications and fads and trends. Let me tell you,
you're right.
Resistance training, if that could be a PSA, the world would be such a better place. I mean, it's like infinite how much better the world, how much better people would feel, how much better people could handle stress, how much more willpower they can have. There's just so many things to all the sports that are associated with health and fitness. I just think it's absolutely invaluable.
Chris, you know what I'm going to make a point with you too? Is look what happens when you get a bunch of guys together to train in a training environment. I know we bust each other's chops a little bit, but guess what? I go from being 65 to being 17 again. There's no feeling better than that. You turn back the hands of time when you get a bunch of guys together, because we're all in the same world together. We all have the same problems. But for a little while when you're training, you forget about everything and just realize, yeah, I'm getting better, and I feel good about how I feel. And I'm just telling you something. That's why I think it's like the fountain of youth. And really, look at the people that I know. Look at Jack LaLanne that lived his life like the way he did. I mean, he was a smaller little guy, man, but that guy was some kind of hell of a. Or Bill Pearl, which is another one I used to be involved with.
Amazing athletes that we all respect, that really have every one of these people that we talk about. For me, Tom Platz, whether I watch him train, whether I watch him talk and listen to him talk, which is like my absolute favorite. I mean, the guy comes out of his own skin when he talks. It's fantastic. And I just really enjoy when you can feel that honesty, that truthfulness, that passion that someone has, that you just know it's them, it's their skin, it's their fabric, if you will. And one of the greatest things I love about everything that we're talking about is it breeds those kind of people. It really does.
Yeah. Good.
I'm gonna say you're gonna have to tell your story a little bit, Chris, because I'd really like to hear what your background is and everything else.
Really for me, it's just a matter of what I've gone through in life. I lost my mother at a very young age. I lost her before I turned 13, just after I turned 13, actually. And long story short, it's like you needed something that you could do on your own, that you can kind of fight all the pain with. And some people will go to a different sport. They'll maybe go to an activity. Maybe they'll socialize. Maybe they'll drink. Maybe they'll turn to drugs. And again, everyone's got their own vices and their own way that their willpower and their personality kind of take them. But I think for all of us, again, certainly speaking for me, that's what really drew me to training, bodybuilding, resistance training, dieting. And of course, when you're old like us, you grow up in that whole Rocky age, the whole Arnold Schwarzenegger age, Lou Ferrigno. And again, those are people that we looked up to. So we wanted to kind of do what they did. Well, it wasn't a bad thing. I don't think it was. And, I love every moment of it. I own every moment of it. That's just a quick thing of how I got started. And then as I got involved going through high school, working at supplement stores, learning about products and be like, wow, doesn't seem like many people know about this. This made me feel better. I'm going to take it and, do research on it. And then when you start reading reviews and you hear from other friends and you just said it best, Steve, it's that great camaraderie that you have in the gym. Like, it's just like, the world is just like such a better place in that gym. I don't know what else to say it.
Even though we bust each other's chops, we love it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, these two are the king of busting each other's chops.
Hey, Eric, can I show you one thing on the gym here?
Yeah, as long as you keep your shirt on, you
see.
can show us whatever you want.
I always have this up here. I don't know if you can see that. You see the saying?
Yep.
You got the stronger one. My mom lived through the Germans, absolutely blown up her house.
Wow.
destroy a building she was in where she was saved like from 9/11. She always said, Henri, you got to be the stronger one. And I'll tell you, son, it's not only with the lifting thing, but we go through a lot of things in life. And as a family man or as a person that has other people care about you, you got to be the stronger one. And I'm just telling you, son, that's why it's in this gym here. And it just means a lot to me.
That's an amazing message, man. Skeebs, just to wrap it up, if people want to find you, learn more about the gym, where can they find you? Where should they look you up?
The easiest way is just, I would say, just, go to Google and do Skiba's gym, because I have so many different postings and people writing about it. I used to have 600 YouTube videos, but they cut some of them down. I'm on Instagram on the Skiba's gym. My phone number is, I'll give it to you, 732-598-9369. Because one of the things I do, just like Louis does, I dedicate 1 hour every night to answer people's questions. They call me all the time. And I just, I'm not trying to make no money off anything. I just want to help lifters, keep lifting. And I do that every night. So that's my gig.
Awesome. Skiba's gym in Carteret, New Jersey. Like I said, it's like Central Jersey, easy to get to, exit 12 off the turnpike. You guys got to experience it. It really is an amazing experience. And it's not just the equipment, it's the people there, it's the camaraderie. Everybody in there is training hard. We have fun, but when you go there, you're going there to work, like to get stronger. And you feel it when you're there. You like feel an obligation to push yourself.
Everybody always says they get PRs here because we always teach a power God smile when you get a bunch of guys together and women, because like when you're here, I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to challenge you every way I can. I challenge people all the time because I'm older, and I always tell the young guys, I'm going to kick your ass. The second you come in here, I'm trying to beat you. And that's always going to be that way. And so I hope you guys, people want to come in here and challenge me. I know you may be stronger, but I'm never going to give up.
Love it, Skeebs. Thanks for being on. Appreciate
Guys,
you.
Chris, Jay, and of course, Eric, thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to different things together. And I really hope we get together sometime and do some just talking just among friends. I thank you.
Definitely. It's an honor to have you.
Okay.
We're going to
Thank
do
you.
something together. I thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for all the great stories too, Skiba. Really
Jay,
appreciate hearing those.
I'm going to have to stop by Animals sometimes. I promise. I like going there. I'm going to make sure I stop and say hello. All right.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you can buy
Guys.
animal products at Skiba's gym too. He sells them there.
I do, because I'm telling you, son, I know what they go through compared to some other companies, and they go through rigorous testing and everything else. They make incredible products. They taste great. They're assayed all the time. And so that's what I sell here. I feel good about it. Second of all, they always they believed in me enough to help me out with different things in the gym here and between seminars and everything else. So I believe in that company. They're a Jersey company. Get back to them and support them.
Yeah, Animal's one of the few companies that have supported powerlifting over the years.
Wow.
So
Thank you so much, everyone. See you on the next episode. Thank you, Skeeb.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Chris. J-Dog, until next time. Hey, don't
Thanks,
give
Henri.
up. Go after him again with that deadlift.
I'm gonna take him out.
Take him out, baby.
Don't
Next
sing
episode.
it, bring it.
Bring it on.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.